Electrolysis of water. The splitting up of any substance into its components by passing electric current through it is called electrolysis. When electric current from a battery is passed through water, it splits water into its constituents, that is, hydrogen and oxygen. This is known as the electrolysis of water. The two gases can be collected in two test tubes and the composition of water can be studied. Materials required are 1 glass or plastic trough, plastic-coated copper wires, sodium bicarbonate or sulfuric acid, aluminium foil, 4 rubber bands, 1 strip of wood, 1 4.5 volt battery, 2 test tubes, tape, and water. Procedure. Take the glass or plastic trough and pour some water in it. To make the water conducting, dissolve 1 teaspoon of sodium bicarbonate or a few drops of sulfuric acid. Take 2 pieces of plastic-coated copper wire and remove the plastic coating from the ends. Wrap one end of each wire with the small pieces of aluminium foil. These pieces are used as electrodes to make contact with water. Stretch a strong rubber band around the wooden strip along with the test tube as shown. Do it for the other test tube also. Fill the test tubes with water. Tape the wire with the trough end so that the wires remain in position. Now, quickly keep the wooden strip along with the test tubes in an inverted manner on the trough. Push the aluminium foils into the 2 test tubes separately. Connect the free ends of the 2 wires to the positive and negative terminals of the 4.5 volt battery. When the current is passed through the water, bubbles of gases come out from the electrodes. The gases get collected in the 2 test tubes. Now, take the test tube at the cathode. It will be having more gas. Bring a lighted matchstick to its mouth, pointing it downward. It will explode with a pop sound. This gas is hydrogen. Over the other tube, the lighted matchstick will burn more brightly. This gas is oxygen. The ratio of the 2 gases when measured will be 1:2. It shows that water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen, which are present in the ratio of 2:1. What is happening? The electrolysis of water illustrates the changes that take place when an electric current passes through a chemical compound. Water consists of water molecules represented by the formula H2O. In any sample of water, some small fraction of molecules exists in the form of ions or charged particles. Ions are formed in water when water molecules break apart to form positively charged hydrogen ions and negatively charged hydroxide ions. Chemists describe this process with the following chemical equation. H2O gives H plus OH minus. Electrolysis begins when electrical current, a flow of electrons, flows out of one pole of the battery into the cathode. As the electrolysis of water occurs, one can see tiny bubbles escaping from the electrolyte at the cathode. These are bubbles of hydrogen gas. This is because positive hydrogen ions, that is H+, in the electrolyte, that is water, pick up electrons from the cathode and become neutral hydrogen molecules, that is H2. The equation goes cathode 2H plus 2E minus gives H2. That is, hydrogen molecules are written as H2 because they always occur as pairs of hydrogen atoms. The same is true for molecules of oxygen, O2. Bubbles can also be seen escaping from the second electrode, the anode. The electrons come from negatively charged hydroxide ions, OH-, which have an excess of electrons. The anode reaction is slightly more complicated than the cathode reaction, as shown in this chemical equation. Anode 4OH- minus 4E- gives O2 plus 2H2O. This equation states that electrons are taken away from hydroxide ions and oxygen gas is produced in the reaction. The oxygen gas bubbles off at the anode while the extra water formed remains behind the electrolyte, while the extra water formed remains behind in the electrolyte. The overall reaction that takes place in the electrolysis of water is now obvious. Electrons from the battery are given to hydrogen ions in the electrolyte, changing them into hydrogen gas. Electrons are taken from hydroxide ions in the electrolyte and transferred to the battery. Over time, water molecules are broken down to form hydrogen and oxygen molecules. 2H2O gives 2H2 plus O2. Hydrogen gas is not a supporter of the combustion, that is, burning process. Hence, a burning matchstick brought near this gas goes off with a pop sound. Oxygen, as you know, is necessary for combustion. Hence, a burning matchstick which is brought near to the test tube containing oxygen will glow brighter.